Hi folks, welcome to the channel. I'm Dom. This is Thinking Theology. Hit that subscribe button if you would. If you've been around a little bit, that would help move the channel on a bit toward 1,000 subscribers and beyond. Today I'm looking at Christopher Hitchens, The Mistake Atheists Make. Interesting. I don't know what this is. I haven't seen it, but the nature of the channel is not pro-theology. It's looking at theological arguments, pro or con. Doesn't matter to me. I have my own views on things. Generally, I'm not convinced of the God of the Bible. Certainly, the biblical texts have their issues, and I know from extensive study and rewriting and so on of them, and there are some serious issues with them. But I'm a philosopher by training and by nature, so I like to look at arguments being made and just see where they may have merit and where they may not. So, generally speaking, I like nice people, regardless of what they believe about God. I'll handle my business in that regard. They can handle theirs. But let's see what Hitchens has to say about the mistake atheists make. Fascinating, because he himself is one of the best-known atheists. Here we go.
Now, it's often said, it was said tonight, and Dr. Craig said it in print, that atheists think they can prove the non-existence of God. This, in fact, very slightly but crucially misrepresents what we've always said. There's nothing new about the new atheists, it's just we're recent. There's nothing particularly new. Dr. Victor Stenger, a great scientist, has written a book called The Failed Hypothesis, which he says he thinks that science can now license the claim that there definitely is no God, but he's unique in that and I think very bold and courageous. Here's what we argue. We argue quite simply that there's no plausible or convincing reason, certainly no evidential one, to believe that there is such an entity and that all observable phenomena, including the cosmological one to which I'm coming, are explicable without the hypothesis. You don't need the assumption.
Fair enough. Yeah, basically he just said you cannot, it's called proving a negative. You can't prove that God doesn't exist. It's like the black swan theory. You may have observed 10 million white swans and come to the conclusion that all swans are white. All it takes is one gray, blue, black, green swan to disprove your entire theory that all swans are white. Similarly, there may be, no matter how much you study, and Sir Karl Popper's theory of falsifiability is basically predicated on this idea. This is my interpretation of Popper's work. That you can really you need to be able to subject things to testing. And testing things means that you might be able to falsify a certain theory. You can never absolutely verify a theory. You may have reasons to believe a theory and rely on them, and multiple realms of science, whether it's biology, even could be archaeology, physics, the more those support your theory, then the stronger or more believable or reliable the claim is. But you can't absolutely verify it in that regard. And that's basically a similar line of reasoning that Hitchens just said, is that you cannot disprove God exists because, well, sure, somewhere down the line there might be something that suggests he, she, it does exist as its own entity with its own mind and agency and all this sort of stuff. Not everybody's threshold of proof has been met that there's a God, and you've got to allow that. I mean, that's just one of the things that, I don't say it astounds me because that suggests that I'd never seen it before, but it's pompous. Very learned people, such as Hitchens, are not convinced, and that is many of the atheist view, is that there's nothing convincing yet that there's a God. The texts don't do it for him. The texts don't do it for me either. But he said it's a mistake for atheists to claim that there's absolutely no God. You could definitively prove that. You can't, any more than you could definitively prove that there is one. It's a matter of belief. The unfortunate part of the package, whether you're an atheist or a religionist, let's say regarding Judgment Day, if there is one, is that you've got to die to find out if you were right or wrong. But by then, in one sense, you can't communicate with the people back here on planet Earth to clue them in. So Anyway, I'm sure people will have thoughts on that as well. But I like what Hitchens said. I mean, it's a fair assessment of how we come to what we believe. And certain things are not knowable or verifiable. Like, you can't verify that there is no God. You could say, I don't believe there's a God, no convincing evidence of it, and that's where I stand on it. That's what Hitchens just said, and that's fair enough. So there it is. All right, guys, leave your comments. Try to couch them in sensible ways rather than just emotional ways, and we'll go from there. Have a great day. I'll see you on another video. Keep thinking theology.